President Trump issued an executive order on March 1st designating English as our official language and revoked a directive by President Clinton that required language assistance to non-English speakers. So there was a Pew Research survey last year. It found 72% think it's very or somewhat important for English to be our native tongue. And that includes, by the way, 57% of Democrats. So Congress has tried and failed to do so in the past. Don't know why. But North Dakota Senator Kevin Cramer, he ain't given up, thank God, and is co-sponsoring a bill with Ohio Senator Bernie Moreno that's making its way through the upper chamber. And the senator joins us right now. So you got 31 states, 5 territories, including Puerto Rico. They enshrine English as their official language. You got 67 countries in this world codified English as their formal language or a formal language. Why have we never done so? Why has Congress never done so?
So great question, and I'm grateful that the president has made his attempt at it, and I think that spurs us on a bit. And I think it's important to note that Senator Moreno, of course, is picking up the mantle from former Senator J.D. Vance, who's now the vice president. And so I think, the point being, I think there's a little extra firepower, if you will, for this. The bill that we're behind is called the English Language Unity Act, which I think is a great title, considering what you just said about there are 31 states plus that already have this law. I think that we don't advocate for Congress or for the federal government to do a lot of things at our state level because the Constitution says you shouldn't. However, the Constitution does give interstate commerce authority to the federal government on purpose for a good reason. And this unifying, this reconciling these state laws into what is, as you point out, Rob, the overwhelming position of American citizens only makes sense, and its time has come. And the Connor story is obviously a tragic one and a sad one. The fact that there's a ring that's been cheating, helping immigrants cheat on the CDL license, for example. There are laws, but this is about more than the law. This is about the enforcement of the law. And so that means sometimes Congress has to step in and provide more teeth, if you will, to the laws as well. And the way we do that in an interstate commerce way, Rob, is there has to be both the appropriate incentives, but also the right punishment if states don't comply with these laws. If you're going to allow somebody that can't read a word of English to get a commercial driver's license in your state, well, that means they can't cross into the next state that might have that law. We can do that, but you also remember that a good deal of the highway dollars that maintain and build our highways, of course, come from the federal government. And so there's a reason for the federal government to take a leadership role in this.
You're right. And Senator Moreno knows better than anybody. He immigrated here as a kid from Colombia, didn't speak any English, but learned it and knows the importance of it. I think, and I'm sure you agree on this, I think Americans are starting to get pretty frustrated by having to push 1 for Spanish, 2 for English, or seeing Spanish on top of English on store signs and 10 different languages on ballots when voting. I mean, we're becoming balkanized instead of one nation with a common language.
So you just make such an important point there. So now you're getting to the cultural issues, which are not unimportant. They're very, very important.
Yep.
In fact, every time I get a new toy or a new gadget, and I open up the instructions, it takes me half the time just to find the instructions I can read.
That's true.
And you're right. It's more than just an inconvenience, though, because one of the biggest problems we have with our immigration system in the United States is the lack of assimilation into our culture. Now, I'm not saying that everybody has to get blonde hair and blue eyes if they come into the United States, but they ought to want to, just like my grandparents want to learn the English language. It's part of what draws them to the United States. It's that unifying culture that they're attracted to as much as anything. And so I think what we've done is we've gotten lax, Rob. Our multiculturalism, which can be a strength, but also can be a weakness. I think this is a good example of how you can take the strength of multiculturalism but unify it under one official language. And I think it should be the least we should be able to expect.
Yeah, and those waves of immigrants who came in the 1900s, they came here to assimilate, to work hard, didn't expect anything, and they were embarrassed if they didn't speak English, and they learned it. North Dakota Senator Kevin Cramer, keep up the great work, and good luck with this particular bill.
Thank you, Rob. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.